Hi, this is Alchemist2 again, and a friend of mine, Mind Petals, was asking me what books have been most influential on me as of late. I have quite a stack of books here on my lap, and this could take some time, but the first one, of course, it looks very plain and usual, but it's called Self-Love. See if you can see the title there. It's called Self-Love. And it's by Robert H. Schuller. This was written in 1969. So yes, this does have some age on it. However, this has a lot of wisdom in it, and it talks about the principle of loving yourself for who you are, your faults, your foibles, your tendency to make errors, and then another way of thinking in the end through the eyes of Jesus, which I really liked. I just love the poem at the end. I'm not going to read the poem at the end, but I think that's the best part of the whole entire book, and I decided to put that poem on my refrigerator to remind me how to see, how to think, how to listen to my heart. And I highly recommend this. I know it's probably for some readers they may not want to read it because it's Christian based, but it's part of a trilogy. I haven't read the other books in the trilogy. It's called Possibility Thinkers, but I really recommend this book. It's just a fantastic book. Another one of my favorite authors, Gregg Braden. He is a metaphysicist. He also is an archaeologist. He has traveled to Tibetan monasteries, and he's gone to ancient Aztec sites as well as Incan sites, power areas, and discuss that from the wisdom of the past we can learn about our future and where we're going. Of course, he talks a lot about 2012, not in this book, but this just talks about the stuff in between the nothing. In other words, the mind of God. And I love this. I think it's just remarkable, and I think it's very profound, and just the knowledge from this book alone, you can glean a lot of information from it. And Gregg Braden, he's just a very inspirational man. He combines religion and science, and I think that's the way that we're going to be headed in the coming year, hopefully. And I think that we can learn from that, because that's how we started, and then came doctrine and dogma. Yeah, I messed everything up. But suffice it to say, I am a huge fan of Mr. Braden, and I'm hoping that I can meet him in person one of these days, just because I think his message is so inspirational, and he's just marvelous. He's remarkable. He's just a fountain of information, and he combines a lot of the things that I absolutely adore in physics and metaphysics, and just things that will make you just stop and think and say to yourself, whoa, I never realized that that was possible. But within that realm, nothing is impossible. Now this next book, called The Shack, of course this is a Christian book. It's by Young, and it's about a person who meets God, and they also meet Jesus. And of course, a lot of people think the book was controversial because God is a woman. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, why can't God take any form he wants to? It just doesn't matter to me. I mean, God is she is a being that has no gender. I'm just saying he as a generic he. God can do anything he so desires, and this book really helped me understand that and just connect to God on a deeper level. And I got shivers through my spine reading that book. Seriously. It really makes you stop and just ponder how amazing and awesome God is. And this next book is by another one of my favorite authors, Sumon Kidd. It's called When the Heart Waits. This book is about patience. And that's one thing I think a lot of people lack. This book has taught me to be more accepting and to be more acceptable, as Andy Stanley would say in his life rules. That's another thing I would recommend, just as an addendum. This is a really magnificent book. It's probably one of the best books I've read. It's only, well, the notes, not counting the notes, it's 205 pages, and plus the notes, it's 217. So it's at least about a day's read, I would say. Or if you take time to read a book, then I would probably estimate at least 2 days, give or take. This book is mind-boggling. This is by David R. Hawkins, MD, PhD. No relation to Dr. Hawking, another one of my idols. That this gives you the principle of power versus force. And there is a huge, vast difference between the two. It gives you the physics of it and the it gets into some really theoretical ideas in here that are fascinating to me. I love physics. Some of it goes over my head, but just to me, it's a science that I think is very religious and strangely enough, very spiritual science. And a lot of theoretical physicists would, I don't know if they would agree with me or if they would say, poppycock, you don't know what you're talking about. But haven't really met any theoretical physicists, so I'm just going to say that and throw it out there. Flame me if you will. But this is a dense book. This is not light reading, but it's very good, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it if you want to note the differences between the two, and if you want to change your life and see things in a different perspective. And it's just one of those books that'll make your synapses hum. It's great for that. Yes. Another one of my favorite authors, Carlos Castaneda. Mr. Castaneda is also very profound, and his wisdom, I think, transcends everything I've ever read. I think Mr. Castaneda was a prophet. He talks about how we can intuit our ideas to come to life, and it is true. If you do think about something, and then if you always think it from the end, as Dr. Wayne Dyer, whom I didn't mention, my book, I think Power of Intention. Yeah, Power of Intention. It's the same principle that he talks. Dr. Dyer talks much about Castaneda. Had it not been for Dr. Dyer, I would not have known about Carlos. And Carlos is just he's incredible. And I think that his books are well worth looking into. I've read every one of his books except for Journey to Ishlong and let's see, Eye of the Eagle or something like that. Power of the Eagle, I think is what it's called. But I've read every one of his books, and they actually require more than one reading because they're that deep. But it just talks about the whole realm of the soul and the infinite possibilities that are within infinity. Just what you can do with your mind. The mind is a very powerful implement and very very important thing. I don't know what else to call it. Essence. It's hard to say with Castaneda, but that's what he talks about. I can't go into more detail with that. The last two books I have are by Eckhart Tolle. and one's called A New Earth. The other one, Power of Now, is my absolute favorite. Yes, because he basically is this Buddhist idea that Thich Nhat Hanh, another one of my favorite authors, speaks of. I haven't gotten his You Are Here book, but you worry too much about the past, and you can't change the past. You can learn from your past, but you cannot change it. The future, um, you have control over your future. You can control your own destiny. The present moment is what you should live for. And actually, Jesus Christ said the same thing. Worry not for the future. Worry not for the future, because today is sufficient, and sufficient is the day for its own trouble. That's what he said, but I agree with that too. And I think that was quite a list of books there. I'll write them down in the authors so you can have an idea of all these different books that if you really want to deepen your spirituality, open your mind up to new possibilities, and I would definitely do that, because these are all very deep and profound books, and they will all challenge you and open you up to new experiences, and the probabilities and the possibilities are absolutely endless.